last time on Realms Apart, we started the thing.
We introduced all characters.
Doddle entered the city. Maglo got his book stolen. Hawke cried.
That's true. I was in a hole.
Juniper left her nature home and entered Waterdeep. Calder met Filthy Meg and got a job.
He also saw a dead body.
That's true. Elerie was working for the bad guys.
Yeah, I was moving some boxes and getting into trouble.
And Siraye was being chased, but also a badass on top of a roof and kicking people in the butt.
Was knee-deep in a kung fu movie.
Also, upon re-listening, Nox said something in the prologue about before the traitor was revealed, and I feel like we brushed right by that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't repeat myself. So let's start this out the way that we always do. Let's do a little meditative moment. Let's clear our minds and get ourselves into our characters. The children that were scattered about the floor of the common room looked at the old man, waiting for a tale of faraway lands and heroic exploits. I suppose we were at the beginning then. The underdog, the grove, the sea, the palace, they all converged right there.
Harold, have you ever seen so many different kinds of people in such a big place? How hard could it be to find somebody that knows where Tailwind is?
You're a miracle, boy.
I shake my head and quietly to myself say, there's no such thing as miracles.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a running start. I'll count to 30. 1, 2.
30, and then I'm gonna run at him and attack him.
You told me your history. I was born on that boat. Huh? That ship that your friend is dissecting.
I absolutely hate how chipper you always are.
And it'd be a good look on you, though.
If it's a riddle, I want to solve it. If it's a lock, I want to open it.
I'm a holy woman, and I'm looking for things that were taken from me and my people.
They could not begin to fathom the situation that they found themselves in. The ruins of Myth Drenor stretch out before you. The sky is gray, ground is muddy, and your leather boots have been worn down to the point where they are thin, and every rock that you step upon, every irregular bump in the ground, threatens to toss you forward into the many chasms and pits that surround this place. Your dirty blonde hair is soaked and continues to fall across your glasses as you push them forward on your nose. Your hands reach out, grabbing onto the side of a shattered wall made of stone. Ahead of you, a number of the guides that you have hired push forward. Behind you, Willow, your sister. Oi, you paying attention? Aye, boy. Feel a smack on the back of your head as Willow taps you. You know, the thing is about you, you don't have your mind where it needs to be.
Listen, I'm kind of working on like another level, like intelligence-wise. There's like some galactic level kind of mind.
I think if you were to work your feet as hard as you were working your mouth, we'd be there already.
You bought me these crappy boots, right? They're already falling apart. I can like feel the ground. I'm trying to do the best of what I got, right?
Willow laughs, and she has a clarion laugh that always reminds you of your mother, and it echoes through the canyon. You see that she's looking off towards the horizon. There is a ridge next to a mountain, and therein, your destination. Mithranor. Once it belonged wholly to the elven people. And here they worked some of their greatest magics. But as with so many of the remnants of the elven culture left on Faerun, it is no more. It had been rebuilt, but the Netheree's enclave had crashed into this place. Light and dark, now eternally joined. And in all of Abir Terrell, the Netherees held a great many secrets that could unravel that which you seek to find. And in the distance on a hill, you see a gray and shattered tree that has been burnt. And it looms large in the center of what this city once was. The Institute of Academic Exploration and Discovery has joined you. You have convinced them that your research has merit, and they have helped to bolster your failing finances. The expedition has taken the last of your family's coin. Your inheritance is squandered. Your expedition stops underneath an overhang, and a fire is lit by the guides, and everyone gathers together. Your sister has set out a number of the books that you both have searched through endlessly. In front of you, you are fitting the gears into the small brass automaton that you have been building for some time now. I believe it, Mags. All the mythals are joined, and the energy that they share connects everything together. It's like a magnet. You put one over here, and you put another over here, and they are inexplicably pulled together. Are you still working on that?
I am listening. I'm sorry. I almost had it working, but I just can't get it.
Mags, you are the smartest idiot I've ever known. And she grabs the gears out of your hand and looks at them. You've had it the whole time right here. Look at this. And she begins showing you how to seat the gears together. She's always been there. She's raised you. And despite her gentle ribbing, you know she loves you very much, and that she would never let anything happen to you. And underneath the rocky overhang, in the dull light of that fire, as the books damp from the cold and the rain of Mithranor, as those gears fit together, the small brass automaton, for the first time, lights up. And there's a warm yellow glow that fills the cavern.
Oh my god. Oh my god, we did it.
To be fair, you did most of it. I just gave you a push.
Absolutely not. Right. Shit. Marcus! And Mags, gets up and starts just calling for people to gather around. He's finding Marcus mainly, but he's looking for the others. Look. We got it working. Got it working.
And across the fire, the leader of the Institute of Academic Exploration and Discovery, Reginald Alderhorn, the curator and grand cartographer, glowers in the firelight. He is a very pencil-thin, pointed individual with a sharp chin and a sharp nose. Everything about him is angles and rigid understanding. He has white hair that is very long and has been braided across his back, and he's covered in far too many cloaks, trying to stave off the cold that has been assailing you in this place.
If you're quite finished with your toys, we have the very serious business of determining how these ancient symbols tie into the location of Evermeet.
Of course. Reginald, absolutely. But look at this. Look what we got.
Fascinating, my boy. Fascinating.
It is. We can do so much with this. It can transport medicine. We can use them for companions, for people who can't summon them from other lands. This is intrinsically connected to the weave and the Netherese, everything. It's all part of the puzzle. And we fucking built another piece of it. That's impressive. We're doing it, bud.
Your endless enthusiasm and youth are appreciated. However, academics has no space for dreaming. And I highly suggest that you begin to train your mind and let go of these childish fantasies.
If you try and pursue knowledge without dreaming, you're just going to start walking backwards.
You'll learn soon enough, boy. The world is cold and harsh.
That's why we gotta be not that.
He goes back to his books and has like 2 pairs of spectacles on his long nose as he's picking through pages and ignores you. You feel Willow's hand on your shoulder. He's a fucking idiot.
He's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know shit. You're gonna take his job in no time. Don't you worry about it.
Oh, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. Together, eh? You and me? Now go talk to Marcus. He's been all puppy dog-eyed since you stopped paying attention to him and fixing that brass automaton.
And then he holds his hand out, and the little at the minute it's like a bumblebee.
And then in a blink, the scene dissolves. And you're drowning, and there's water everywhere, and screams, and shattering of cannon fire, and you're pulling yourself, fighting to try to break the surface. The ship has been destroyed. Your sister is dead. Everyone is gone. You're fighting just to breathe. Clutched in your grasp are the books and the papers that you and your sister have spent over a decade working on together. You won't let that go. And if this is to be your grave, then you will die with it. But somewhere in that dark water, as you begin to let go, as you accept your fate, a small pinpoint of yellow light begins leading you, pulling at you, and you find the strength to swim. I need everyone to roll initiative who is in the alley, please.
17.
17 is your initiative, Doddle.
It's a 5 for Hawke.
Oh, cheeky little nat 20, so I'm gonna roll another 20 here.
Yeah, so you did roll a natural 20, and that means that you get to roll again to see if you get a second.
I do not.
I got an 8.
First and foremost, I guess it's Maglo.
That would make sense since Maglo got there before any of us.
Yeah,
We're
no,
all
it does.
chasing
It
Maglo.
follows. It is an overcast day in Waterdeep. The threats and the storm clouds that had been building for the past few days have finally broke. and all the filth of Waterdeep, the dirt and the grime that has accumulated, is being washed into the street. All of the merchants within the streets that have market stalls are rushing to kind of begin to cover their wares, and some of the patrons and citizenry are beginning to take cover. You, however, have just entered into a back alley. You see the individual running towards a cart. There's a large brown and spotted horse here, and it looks as if it has seen better days. Its mane is somewhat unkempt, and its hide is a bit matted. There are quite a few flies buzzing around it, and it seems to be resentful of its current station at the front of this wagon. All of the individuals around it seem to be working to ensure that a number of crates are secured onto the back of the wagon. It is your initiative, Maglo.
As soon as they're in line of sight, Maglo does not think they're going to physically be able to keep up with them. He pulls out another vial, and he puts some leaves, some thick liquid. He cracks another one of those rocks that sparkles a little, and he puts it inside. He doesn't even bother to cork it. He puts his thumb over it and shakes it as it starts to bubble and turn into this acid that kind of like leaks out and goes onto his thumb, and he loads it into his gun, and he's going to cast Ray of Sickness at 2nd level. A thing which I consistently forget, as he has leveled it and is trying to breathe through it. Busby, now this spider with these bumblebee wings, latches itself onto the side of his gun and then points like a small laser focus, giving him advantage. He's going to try and give the help action for this.
Almost connects completely with your gun. You are on fire, my friend.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's a natural 20 again. I'd like for you to roll a second time to see if we can confirm that natural 20.
Man, people early doors listening are really going to think that I roll really well. That's a crit fail. Whereas that's not true. We are somehow lucking out. Unfortunately, I got a crit fail on the confirm.
You just got a natural 1 on that, which doesn't do anything. It just you still have the crit. It just doesn't add to anything. Only if you get the natural 20. Now, if you had rolled a natural 1 and then rolled another natural 1, that would have been a problem.
Hey, so apparently Piper had a power outage.
Oh dear.
Oh
Piper said they'll be back in a second.
Okay, that's good news.
Hey.
I was
Quick,
gonna say
everyone say nice things about them.
Oh my lord, they're absolutely killing it on a cosplay front of late. Lumpy Space Princess and Vanellope just like knocked it out in like a week. Phenomenal.
And the quality that all of
Absolute
the
quality.
cosplays managed to be.
No, it's absolutely feral.
Welcome back.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh, did you stop?
Yeah.
No, keep going. Forget me.
Oh,
Never.
I mean, I had to pee anyway. It's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We just took a little breather. So I'm gonna wave here, but also, Piper, make sure to adjust your mic. I think you might be a little hot.
Doddle, how's this?
That's good.
Yeah.
That sounds great, June.
That sounds good.
You sound like a goddess.
Maglo, your rifle is leveled and it explodes with a thick cloud of brimstone as an alchemical burn sparks with a blue flame from the end of your weapon. And the opponent that you have been chasing through these alleyways has charged forward, nearly reaching a cart with some individuals that are working in this alleyway off in the distance. And as this shot rings out, everyone stops and looks in your direction. How much damage did you just do, Maglo?
31 points.
To the back of this rogue. who has stolen the book that you were working on in the tavern, and running away from you, this individual has shown themselves to be somewhat trained in the arts of evasion and combat. You have managed to shoot this individual in the back, and they throw forward and scatter across the cobblestone of the street as the rain begins trickling down more and more heavily. There's a crack of lightning, and the thunder kind of shakes the sky for just the briefest of seconds before you realize that everyone that is surrounding this cart is moving towards you. Doddle, you catch up to the strange man who had dropped the page from that book. And in your hand, the parchment is slowly becoming wet from the rain. What do you do when you enter into this alley?
Do I see that the man that knows about Teowen shot the guy, and then all of the presumably bad guys are moving in on him?
That's a lot of presumptions, Doddle. The man who knows about Teowen has a gun, a rifle, which you are not familiar with these things. It's some sort of magic rod.
It's a boomstick.
Yeah, it's a magic rod that has smoke coming out of the end of it, and you see another person on the ground, scattered out, a dark form lying on the ground, and there is definitely blood.
Is he dead?
You're not sure, but the individual that has been harmed by this weapon is certainly hurt. And the individuals that were around the rest of the alley are moving very determinedly towards this man.
Oh, I have a lot more to process in my turn than I realized. Oh my god, I'm not sure I've ever seen blood before, at least not in this quantity. I think I'm gonna do what I originally did, actually, and I'm gonna panic, and then Doddle is. So she has a little bit more time to process whatever's going on. She's gonna scoop up some dirt off the ground, rub it in her hands a little bit, whisper some things in Elvish into her hands, and then she's gonna blow the dirt off her hand, and as the dirt goes into the air, it turns into fog, and I like to cast fog cloud around the approaching morally ambiguous guys. Please and thank you.
All right, so 20 feet of fog. It's not endless. You certainly see dark shapes that are moving around in there, but it's hard to see where anyone is at this point.
I just stare at the body.
You cannot. You've covered it in fog.
Oh, did I? I was picturing, just behind him so that Maglo could go get his book.
Oh, I see. So you want the fog to hit more of this, because these individuals are quickly walking towards all of you. So if you put the fog cloud back here, just know that they're going to emerge out of it fairly quickly.
We did this fight before I learned how to play D&D real good, so I'm just going to say that I'm keeping it immersive and consistent.
All right, it's fair. So that is Doddle's turn. These rough-looking people, they step out from the fog cloud that you've created, and they step in front of the body. One of them actually picks up the individual and drags him back into the fog cloud. So 2 of those individuals immediately disappear, and then the others that come out, there are 3 of them. They are immediately going to run towards Maglo. Maglo, you are quickly surrounded by these rough-looking people that are dressed in varied mismatch armor and bits of old fabric that have been bound together. But the one thing that you notice about all of them is that consistently they have a purple band that is tied around their upper arm, and on that is a symbol. I'm going to make perception checks for you and Doddle. Neither of you got it. So while you can see that there are symbols on their arms, you cannot make out what those symbols are. All three of these individuals, as they have moved forward, are going to attack you. So they don't seem to pay much attention to the small child that is standing in the corner of this alleyway, but they do take issue with you pointing that gun and shooting it at someone within the alley. So Maglo, what is your armor class?
It is a special ticket of 15 today, because he has a little bonus.
So 2 of the attacks that have swung at you have completely missed. However, the third individual, who seems to be perhaps more well-trained, he's a little larger, he has a shaved head and some tattoos along his neck, and a series of very large hoop earrings that are inset into his ears. Very, very rough-looking person steps in front of you and has a mace and swings at you heavily with it. He hits you twice. 15 points of damage, Maglo. And it's bludgeoning, yeah. So he hits you hard, and you feel your knees buckle. Make an acrobatics check just to see if you botch it and drop your gun.
18.
So you actually do manage to hold on to your gun, but you nearly hit the ground as the weight of this mace crashes into you not once but twice. You feel like a cracking on your side. You think maybe a rib just popped, and you begin bruising underneath all of your garb. You can tell that there are probably thick, giant, purple bruises working their way across your form right now. Then we go to Hawke. Hawke, what are you doing when you enter into this alleyway?
So I just see everything kind of in bedlam right now. Yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get between the small child and the nerd. I go in and I push Maglo kind of aside. And I'm going to hold my sword. I look at the three of them. Do you really want to do this today?
I'm going to have you make an intimidation check.
That's a 16?
One of them stops and looks to you and then looks back at the others. The other two, however, continue to pummel upon this man that's in front of you and pay you very little mind.
All right. I still locked on the guy that looks like he has doubt in his eyes. Let's do this. And I'm going to attack the one in the center with my greatsword. Yeah, that guy.
The large man who has just hit Maglo with this massive mace stops and looks at you, and then he kind of raises himself up, and he's a good head taller than you are, and he's heavily muscled. He kind of like takes his hand and rubs it across his bald head and flicks some sweat down on the ground. Make a roll to strike, please.
Right, I am going to do a green flame blade attack. So first
your sword bursts into flame, and I'm gonna roll for the one that you've intimidated. Yeah. So the one that's standing here immediately stumbles backwards and falls over a box as he tries to get away from you, scared by the ignition of your blade as the flames begin licking across it. Somewhere in the far distance, you hear as a raven screeches across the sky.
For the larger guy, that's 16 with 10 slashing damage. And then for the spell effect, it is another 7 damage with 6 splashing on the guy next to him right here.
So you do strike, and you do rake your blade across the front of this thug. And he stops for a moment and kind of grimaces as you can see that there are burns that are working their way up across the side of his face as your blade has cut through a large swath of his leather armor. And you see the chainmail underneath that has been like heavily damaged. And he certainly has taken a hit, but he's still standing.
Beautiful. And then the guy next to him takes 6 damage.
Gang member stumbles back, trying to remove the flame from them, patting themselves down and shouting out, "What the? Ah!"
And while I do that, I'm not taking my eyes off the guy that stumbled backwards.
Siraye, you are on top of the roof right now.
Yeah, where's that tiefling?
Yeah,
I don't care what's going on down there. I want to fucking kill that tiefling.
How do you really feel, though? Yeah, so you actually do manage to see the tiefling ahead of you on the slate roofs, charging past you. Over a number of these ridges, jumping between the buildings, which are very close together, but still have these gaps that drop 2 to 3 stories downward. And you have been running across these buildings. Below you, you hear some sort of ruckus as you see a flash of magical green flame, and there's a heavy wall of fog that is rolling across the cobblestones below. What the? Ah!
I don't care. I just want to kill that tiefling.
You are probably about 40 feet away from the tiefling at this point.
Sweet.
What do you do as they continue to run away?
I can't do anything because he is too far away. So I'm going to. What do I got? Oh, I have no key points left. Fuck that. I'm just gonna try and catch up to him. I'm gonna sprint my little booty off and try and catch up to him.
All right,
and not lose sight of him. The big thing is if I don't want to lose sight of him at all.
So if you spend your entire round just charging forward, I will allow you to make an acrobatics check against his acrobatics check, and we will see who succeeds at moving across these rooftops.
Woof. Not great. I got a 14.
Well, it's not horrendous. It's above average. You do manage to catch up. He's about 10 feet away from you. You can tell that this tiefling is gauging whether or not to jump across a larger gap that's a little more risky to try to leave you further behind. To remind you, the name of this tiefling is Billix Newfar. Cool. And he is rake thin, red-skinned, and has a sharp pointed tail with spikes across it. The hood has been blown back, and you see the full horns and his strange features as this tiefling is kind of scrambling across this roof, trying to get away from you. That is your turn. And we're going to begin with the individual who has been pulled back into this cloud. You can't see what's going on, but you hear the whinny of the horse, and you know that something is happening inside of the space of that fog cloud. There is something, a clatter on the roof for all who are on the alleyway, ground level. And I'm rolling some perception checks. And outside of Hawke, all of you are oblivious to what is happening above you due to the situation at ground level. Hawke, there is not one, not two, but 4 separate noises that are happening across the rooftop in this alleyway. And as you glance up, you see a number of silhouettes, and one of them, at least, very clearly, has a longbow and is knocking an arrow. So we're going to start at past the individuals in the fog cloud, we then move over to Maglo. Maglo, what would you like to do?
Maglo's like on his knees, like slowly gets up. He's gonna try and look to see if his book is anywhere before the fog cloud.
Yeah, you do not see your book.
I'm so helpful.
Hey, it's before you knew how to play D&D. It's all in character. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, I want to make an intelligence check because Maglo's going to look at that you said that the person who hit him with the mace had these large hoop earrings, right?
Yep.
Maglo wants to make an intelligence to see if he can see what metal they are.
So go ahead and make an intelligence check. Actually, you can make a nature roll if you like.
20, non-nat.
You think that they're made of bronze.
With that, he puts his left hand in his messenger bag. He pulls out half the ingredients for a thing that he needs and slaps his hand onto the bronze. He's going to cast Acid Splash on their face, but using the bronze as the last component that he needs, and then is going to run past him.
All right, so just roll to strike with the acid.
That's a 20 non-nat.
Okay, so that definitely is going to hit.
The damage is already rolled. It's 5, but it's +4 because he's using alchemical components, so it's 9 altogether.
What the fuck?
And you see like a sizzle as he nearly falls to his knees, and he's going to be operating with a disadvantage as he is currently dealing with not only an immense amount of pain, but also is blinded.
Maglo is then going to use this opportunity to run into the fog. Boys, we need to find that book. And commanding Buzz to try and help them out.
Busby begins flying in the air and shining lights into the fog cloud.
He's going to be taking the 2 opportunity attacks. That's fine. He's got bigger things on his mind at the minute.
Yeah, one of them is not going to hit you, but I will try. The other one will try. Surprising no one. The one that you blinded with acid misses you as he swings just wildly with his mace. The second one does connect with his sword and does 5 points of damage. You take a cut across the shoulder as you pull out of range of this warrior.
Does Maglo know that Doddle cast the fog cloud?
You don't know because you were not facing Doddle.
He's just going to assume that it was them who cast it.
Right.
And he's just going to keep running. He's sprinting in like, Borsby, we need help finding that book.
All right, Doddle, you were up. What would you like to do?
Do I hear Maglo being like, we need that book?
You hear everything in the alley. And I don't think that Maglo was being quiet or trying to be stealthy about what he was saying. So I would say everybody hears it, including your opponents.
Hum-to-tum. Okay. Do I have a good grasp on which of the shadows I see is the one with the book?
Make an intelligence check at a disadvantage.
Why a disadvantage?
Because there is a fog cloud that is playing a cup game with your opponents.
What dumb fucker put a fog cloud there?
Take it up with management, to be fair.
What about intelligence?
Your intelligence, whatever bonus you have, roll the d20 and do it twice and take the lower.
Oh, that's 6!
Natural 1, actually. It is a 6, but it is also a natural 1, my friend. So you need to roll it again.
3.
Okay, you didn't get 2 natural 1s, which means that I'm not going to have you target your potential friends here. However, you think you know exactly where that individual is.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's be dumb.
Borsby, we need help finding that book.
Oh, this guy that I really need to like me and be my friend needs a book from that specific person there. So I'm just gonna run into the fog cloud. Because maybe we can come to some sort of agreement. Maybe I can pay for the book, or maybe if we just communicate to these guys that we really need that book because I'd really like to go home. I'm sure that we can come to some sort of diplomatic understanding, so I'm just gonna run right into the fog cloud and to the guy that has the book.
I need you to make, when you get about 10 feet forward, I need you to make an acrobatics check, please.
Yeah, I can do that. 14.
So the larger armored individual with a huge bucket-like helmet that's been heavily dented, has some rust across the side of it. You see a large beard kind of shoved out, pushing out like a tree branches almost from inside of this helmet, wearing old armor and patched together leather, holding this enormous sword, still dripping with some of Maglo's blood as Maglo has just tried to walk out of his range of attack. Looks at you, Hawke, looks at you in the eye, and then you can see underneath the helm a smile crack across his ugly face as he reaches an arm out, grabs Doddle off the ground and picks her up, holding his sword up to her throat. He has succeeded in grappling you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does me trying to go into the fog cloud and getting caught only count as a movement?
Yes, you didn't do any actions.
Can I still cast a cantrip?
Yes, you were snatched up off the ground very quickly. There's a blade up against your throat. It doesn't prevent you from casting the spell, however.
Okay, I'm just gonna scream like, ah! And then throw my hands back and grab onto the guy that's holding me, and I'd like to cast Shocking Grasp. Please, and thank you.
Yep.
Shock him.
You have an advantage on your touch attack.
That's an 18, so that's 11 points of lightning damage if it hits.
He drops you and screams backwards as this explosion of electricity ignites around this small goblin. He stumbles back. Meanwhile, Calder, you are in the kitchen of the Mangy Dog. This tavern is perhaps the most dangerous and disgusting place within the dock ward. Its clientele is a mixture of villainous, shadowed, underworld operators and destitute sailors who care very little for their digestive health. The bar itself is a circular affair that stretches around a central hearth. And in the back room, which is little more than a series of wooden walls that are poorly cobbled together, you are surrounded by large basins filled with a brown, murky water and stacks of old dishes and pots and tankards as far as the eye can see. You've been working now for a few hours. Everything has been fairly quiet, but I need you to make a Constitution saving throw to see how you stomach the filth that is currently the wash tubs and the plates themselves.
Oh, please. Just, I can't say anything. Oh, that's a 1. That's a natural.
No.
You rolled a natural 1 on your Constitution saving throw to see if you were going to be sick. And you are, in fact, retching in a corner at a number of the really molded and turned bits of rotten meat that have maggots swarming across them in the back part of this tavern. And
not the best hangover job. Well, I assume I'm a little preoccupied with that for a minute, but do you have any idea what's going on outside of the back room?
Yeah, so you every once in a while you stick your head out and you take an assessment of the space for the tavern itself. Mm-hmm. It is almost always busy, and despite how filthy and ill-kept this place is, there is a steady stream of ne'er-do-wells that come in and out as the day progresses. There are a number of areas in the back that have recessed seating in booths that are of a higher quality than most of the rest of the tavern. And these areas become hubs for what you can only assume to be underworld organizations and the operation of black market dealings. You know that if you are to find this individual, most likely they will be taking a seat at one of these tables at some point within the course of the day. The information that you have is that they are regulars to this establishment. However, currently, there are very few individuals in those seats, and the general flow of the business seems to be sailors looking to forget their troubles and a number of small-time thieves fencing items between each other, kind of in shaded areas. The owner of this establishment is Mr. Gallowblight. He is a ponderously large man.
What a name.
Yeah. Gallowblight is covered from head to toe in weeping boils, and there's a glossy sheen across his skin. Yeah, he has a bald head and half of a mustache that droops down on his face, working and spitting into tankards and scrubbing it with a dirty rag. When he sees you glancing into the main space, he puts down his tankard and starts walking back towards you. What do you do?
Smile and wave. He's like, hey.
He's rolling his sleeves up, and you can see a network of old sailor tattoos across his forearms, and steps into the back room with you. I have an understanding that you'll have all of this completed before the end of the day, yes?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to know your life story. I don't want to know where you came from. I don't want to know who you killed or why. All I want to know is that you're going to do what I ask you to do when I ask it.
As long as I've got all of the limbs that I need to carry out the task, sir.
I hope that that's the case. Now, there are some tables in the back. If you could clear those off. Continue. Are you doing anything back here, Cal?
I am doing what I can, sir. It might help if I could have maybe something to boil some water with.
Oh, I see. You want boiled water. Well, perhaps I could lay down the good silverware. Or, oh wait, I forgot. We're in the Mangy Dog. Fuck off and get to work.
Yes, sir. All right. Understood.
So
he makes way to go and clear the tables. Like, oh.
Yeah, you step out, and in the tavern there is a there's like a really sickly looking bard plunking away at a lyre, and the lyre is missing all but 2 strings. She has a smear of lipstick across her face that almost makes her look like she has a jester's paint on, but you can tell that was actually not the intention. There are a loose scattering of coppers kind of on the floor around her. But in the back, you see these tables, and there are dirty dishes stacked up across them. What do you do?
I'm going to go and start gathering up the dirty dishes and say to the bard, I like the minimalist instrument style. It's very nice. And starts gathering up the dishes.
I am an expert bard. Let me tell you, handsome, I've played for kings and queens in the grandest halls, and throughout my travels, I've learned one thing. I need a drink.
Noted. Well, I mean, he gestures to the ground with the coins, like it seems to be working out for you. Can I put something in for you?
Oh, you could. And she leans kind of forward.
Right then, and he bends down and he picks up a coin and like, I'll go get you a drink.
Okay, and so you go and you grab her a drink. You do see a man enter, and as he does, the bar quiets. He's wearing light blue robes and has a high collar and a completely shaved head. And he's very muscled and doesn't look to be built the way that you would expect a wizard or a sorcerer to be built. However, this large, muscular, robed man with a shaved head passes by, glaring at everyone as he moves. And you see upon his hand, as he waves to the bartender, not a wave of hello. It's more of a dispassionate, I am here, serve me sort of motion with his hand. And upon that right hand, you see a blue ring that glimmers in the low burning light of the tavern. And this man walks into the back and sits down back against a wall facing the door and watches over the entire tavern. His eyes are taking in everything around him, and eventually, as you're carrying this drink back to the very inebriated bard, he stops and he looks at you. And he locks eyes with you. Make an insight check, please.
9.
All right. So you don't know what the expression upon his face means, but you know when someone doesn't like you. And you can tell immediately that this man has decided in this moment that something about you is off and that he doesn't like you. You don't know exactly what his intentions are or why he may feel that way about you, but you do know that you've probably set yourself up immediately for a hard road if you wish to discuss anything with him.
I assume that they're like tankards that he's cleaning up, right? It's not like...
No, Cal's picking up plate. Yeah, you are picking up some bowls that have been sitting around. You're picking up tankards. Yeah.
All right, so he's gonna like fumble and drop a tankard and like in a very goofy like wart from the Sword in the Stone sort of way, like pick them up. Nothing like that will shatter, but he's just sort of gonna try and make himself seem as non-threatening as possible by pretending to be a goon, like basically.
Yeah. So you do that. Make a performance check for me, please.
Please, just let me.
Let me just be bumbly and awkward. That's a natural 20.
Hey, that's good. Okay.
So I do need you to roll that again to see if you get a second natural 20. That is another natural 20. You've rolled 2 natural 20s in a row.
You're promoted.
All right. So, Az, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
You could alter the campaign forever in this moment as you try to look like a bumbling dishwasher.
I rolled a 7. I don't know why I'm relieved, but
As you did roll 2 natural 20s in a row, so that means a miraculous benefit is occurring because of this action. So you do this, and you move about, and you kind of fumble and drop some plates, and you do so in such an artful way that everything lands exactly as you intended. It is the performance of your life, perhaps, as you stumble forward and knock a few things over, and it's not in a destructive way that angers anyone. You don't bump into anyone that would probably resent it. In fact, you endear yourself to the crowd, and there's a roar of laughter within the tavern as the Mangy Dog sets alight with the heavy kind of gruff tones of all of these drunken sailors laughing at you. And from somewhere in the back, you hear the voice of this robed mage. Gallowblight, your young boy here, he's new. Yeah, I knew right away to hire the young lad. I'll have him serve you. And he looks at you with kind of a glare.
Cal just like smiles like, okay, like he knows this is important. Like, I'll try not to fuck this up, sir.
He seems pleased, and any of his initial distaste with you seems to have been completely removed. You're new here.
Just to passing through, needed a little work. As you see, I can usually make the best of a mess.
Indeed you can. It's impressive. Do you wish to be a dishwasher for the rest of your life?
Decidedly not, sir.
Just how dirty are you willing to get your hands?
They cannot possibly be dirtier than they are right now.
I have need of sharp-eyed sailors who can assist me in the removal of troublesome targets. You have a blade, don't you?
I do. Somewhere in the back amongst the piles of dishes.
I want none of the stew. I'll just take an ale and the wine that the old man keeps behind the bar, corked just for me. Don't give me any of the glasses that he's touched. I want you to clean one for me yourself.
Yes, sir.
He slaps down a gold piece. There's a golden dragon on the table, and they're shaped like hourglasses. And the coin kind of like clinks as it strikes onto the table, and he pushes it towards.
Hal looks at it like that's a okay, and he cautiously takes it. Like
as you grab it, he grabs your wrist. And pulls your sleeve up and is checking for tattoos or markings. Do you have any on your upper arm?
And not on my arms, just the but
Yeah. So he nods and then releases your hand.
Cal looks at his arm and is, oh, fair enough. I'll just take this to Gallivite and get you your drink, sir.
He nods as you step away. June, you are in the grove outside of the city walls, huddled underneath an old dead tree. The sun is very slowly setting off in the distance. Your companion has been very quiet, and you hear every once in a while the scraping of blades as they are sharpened against a stone.
June just kind of relaxes a little, comes out of her meditation state, and just cracks an eyeball to see what he's doing.
The tabaxi cat person is black-furred and has their hood pulled back. And you see the ragged patches and the streaks of gray that are worked throughout the black cat's fur. They have before them a very finely wrought and maintained blade, and it's a dagger, and they are running it across a whetstone and sharpening it, and have a number of arrows that they have been sharpening the tips of. They're in a tree above you and have all of this laid out on the branches, very nimbly, and are balanced in a very precarious manner. Their tail kind of whips back and forth, and you can see the glint of their eyes in the reflected light off in the distance.
How are you going to get us into the city?
I've spent quite a while seeking all of the secrets that the wall holds. what they build, it has flaws.
I don't know if I feel comfortable with you sharpening your tools above my head.
He stops. You hear leather as he packs up all the weapons and closes them up. As he puts them all away, he repositions himself and looks off towards the horizon.
Can I do an insight check on this dude?
You can. You've rolled an 18 on your insight. Since his hood is down, you notice these small areas across his body that seem to be scars. It seems as if he has been harmed deeply in the past. And you don't know if it's perhaps some sort of internal spark that the gods are giving you in this moment. But you come to the realization that this strange cat person has very little reason to trust anyone. And he is certainly hiding something.
You say you're going to help me because of my connection to my god. But what else do you want?
You bear the marks of one who shepherds the forest. I can smell it on you. When the time comes, and you leave this blight known as Waterdeep, I will find you. And if you are able, I will ask your help. Does that make you more comfortable? If I expect something in return for my services?
If I refuse when you ask for that favor, what will it cost me?
Are you afraid of me?
No.
The tabaxi turns and slinks across the top of the tree line, moving very quietly, jumping from branch to branch, circling you.
You know what it's like when the humans find things they don't like, things they don't understand. You know what they do. You know why they do them. All the green places are being killed and destroyed by them, leaving ash. And they thrive. And they break. And they leave us. I am not your enemy, June. And when I ask for a favor, if you choose not to give it, I will hold no ill will.
And he turns and just keeps looking back at the horizon. His tail flicks every once in a while. Like, you know how cats are when they are watching a bird in the distance? So like when he looks out at the city, that's what his tail does. It kind of like it becomes not playful, it's very pointed, like hunter behavior. But you can tell from that and your insight roll that he's eager to make anyone from the city that has built places like this pay for what they've done to nature.
She feels bad for agreeing, but also justified in the fact that maybe one day it'll all go back to the earth. So she just kind of tilts her head up and turns to watch with him.
It's quiet for like an hour. Neither of you say anything else after that point. And as the sun sets, and he turns and begins leaping down, gathering all of his pouches and items. They're tied very tightly to his body, and he pulls his hood up, and his cloak, he opens it up a little further and starts to stalk on the ground very low, off of the road, not looking back at you.
Okay, then homegirl's gonna crouch and just follow the kitty.
Okay, so you crouch. Make a stealth roll for me, please.
Come on, mama. Oop. 7.
Okay, after a while, you continue to kind of like scrape along the ground. You stumble a little bit. Scratch stops and turns around, and then silently tracks back to you. His face is close to yours, and you see his large yellow eyes as he looms right in front of you. I can help you if you stay close.
All right, I'll stay close.
He picks up a handful of dirt that's around him, and he scatters it out in front. Mm-hmm. And you can hear him under his breath. He's speaking in a language that you don't know. It's very strange. He keeps you close to him, and as he does, as you notice you're moving through, neither you nor he are leaving any tracks as you both move kind of between the shadows. And he leads you over as the sky becomes darker and darker, and you see torchlights and smoke start to billow off from the city. It's fairly bright, even though it's nighttime. There are torches along the top of the crenellations on the wall itself, and you and your companion skirt the side of this wall very, very easily. You make your way to a grate that is attached to a cistern that is on the side of the wall itself. And it pours into a small ravine where there is a thick, murky water pouring out of it. And there are enormous metal grates all around it that block it off. And a rat could crawl through most of these spaces. No one else could. Scratch stops and then turns back to you. Do you trust me?
Is that a trick question? Fine. Yes, I do.
Come with me. And he turns, and we'll come back to you. Elerie, you are standing in the middle of the southern ward of Waterdeep, and there is a bustle of the city around you, and it has begun to rain. So there is a wash of drizzle that has been pelting you from the offset as you have walked here all the way from the dock ward. You have followed the address that has been given to you by Artificer Inquisitor Sternward, and you are in front of a very large building. It is a massive structure, and to the side of it is an enormous keep that has been attached and it has walls that stretch out as far as you can see. A veritable castle in the middle of this town square. In front of it, you see a number of makeshift wooden stages that have been erected, and on one of them you see gallows and a number of criminals being hung from those gallows.
I just take a moment to look up and see if I recognize any of them. Give them like a little oof. Glad it's not me.
Spoken like a true rogue. Yeah, Thankfully, you do not recognize any of those unfortunate souls that are currently hanging from the gallows.
Oh, good. Haha. Alrighty. Well, that seems to be good news for me, considering if any of my, companions had been up there, anybody I had known, wouldn't be looking good for me right now. It'd be on to me. So, I guess I'll proceed with going into the building without much care further.
So you do manage to make your way into the building. There are these enormous pillars of marble that stretch out and form a large hallway as you walk through a pair of open double doors that are massive, 30 feet in height. And as you walk in, there is a single desk in the opening of a checkerboard marble floor, and there are people milling about, and you can hear all the sounds of the marketplace in the central area of the this town square out in the middle of the bustle of the southern ward. But inside, there are people who are quickly moving from various tasks within this space. But the desk is what you're drawn to as you walk down a finely woven red carpet, and across the side are large stained glass windows that depict various states of justice, whether it be angelic forms or the figures of various gods. All of them have various indications of the law and legality being served through these forms of art that are expressed in these stained glass windows. And the light that is cast in here, even though it is gray outside, is a mixed hue of blues and purples, as there is a cool, very neutral wash of light within this place. And as you approach, you see an older man sitting behind the desk with a pair of spectacles riding low upon his face, and a pile of books and other scrolls in front of him.
I'm so glad this place has visual aids. Can I take a moment to just look around? Perhaps for the first thing I would look for is the best way out of here. Something gets a little too heated.
You do. You do kind of spot the only entrance is the way, or the only exit is the way that you came in. And those double doors are stretched back behind you quite a ways. So if you were to try to make a hasty escape, you wouldn't be able to do so easily. There are 3 sets of hallways that branch off from this central area. There's one to the right, one to the left, and one behind the desk. And all of them are closed with large double doors. Every once in a while, you see figures emerge from them. And there are a large number of city watch that are stationed within the outskirts of this building. There are a number of boards that have been hung up on the sides of this hallway. They are various statements that have been posted, and broadsheets and offers for hire for those who are seeking employment. And there are some individuals that are milling about those areas. But other than that, it is this table and the individual sitting behind it.
This place just feels so uncomfortable to be in. I feel like I'm breaking every law just walking in. Go up to this person, perhaps with pull out the summons that I have, because this feels like something I'm going to need to show.
As you do, the individual, without saying a word, holds out his hand.
With a smile, hand it on over.
You hand him the scroll, and he opens it, reads it, and then passes it back to you.
One moment, please. You may take a seat if you like. You will be called when it is your time.
All right, thanks.
You are quite welcome.
And Elerie, I guess, just goes over and sits in that area. Is there anybody nearby?
No, you're seated upon a marble bench by yourself. You see one of these boards off to the side, and you see wanted posters scattered across it. And you see City Watch march past, dragging a very destitute-looking older man by the collar, and the man is skidding.
I'm innocent. It wasn't me. I have an alibi. Please, no. I don't wish. I would do no harm to the masked lords. I follow the code legal. I must see this.
And this guard just drags them outside.
Under Elerie's breath, she just goes, that was me last week.
The guard walks back in and steps through a pair of those doors. And as you're watching all of this very pointed old man behind the desk is staring at you.
Elerie Seaborn, is that you?
Yes, indeed. That is I.
The inspector will see you now.
And there is a guard that appears, stepping up next to this old man.
Elerie just instinctively puts her arms up like... Oh, not being... Okay.
No one laughs. The entire hall is just dead silent. You could hear the drop of a pin.
Very well. Shall we?
The guard says nothing to you, turns on his heel, and leads you through the set of double doors into some well-appointed, well-maintained hallways. You lose track of where you're at within this building as you are marched upstairs and down corridors and through doorways until eventually you stand before a set of oak double doors that are very richly stained, and across the front of them is a brass plaque that says in the common tongue, Artificer Inquisitor Sternward. The guard stops, knocks, and then turns and takes a position of guard at the door. Enter.
I'm going to enter, and as I walk by this guard, just let me know if you see anything, all right?
The guard says nothing to you, and the hallway is silent. You could hear a pin drop.
Tough crowd.
You step into a very finely appointed office, and there is a fire in a hearth that is on the far side of the room. There is an enormous window that opens up over the courtyard that you have just passed through. And you can see that the Inquisitor's window looks down upon the gallows perfectly, as if it were a front row seat to the festivities of each and every execution that takes place there. There's a pair of plush chairs that are seated by the fire, a bearskin rug that is stretched out before it, a small brass cart that is full with decanters that are filled with liquor and crystal glasses, and there is a large, very ostentatious desk. And there are scrolls and books very neatly piled here, and the walls are covered in shelves. And every shelf has enormous tomes and bundles of scrolls that line all the way up to the ceiling. In this chamber, as you enter, you see the figure of Inquisitor Sternward. However, he is not alone. There are two other people in the room with him. One is a broad-shouldered, almost thuggish-looking man. He has a bald head and a number of rolls underneath his chin that are covered by a scratchy and poorly grown beard. The beard is streaked with gray, and he has bulbous eyes, making him feel less human, perhaps, as these dark eyes seem to be trying to protrude themselves out of his skull, pushing their way forward. They're watery, and they are, however, sharp and full of intelligence. The man is wearing a blue robe, upon which is emblazoned a number of embroidered runic symbols. Behind this man is a thinner, much more athletic figure. You are uncertain of their gender, but they are wearing a wooden mask, and their features are completely hidden. It is finely polished and worked with red carvings of roses that work their way around this mask. They're wearing dark leather armor and have a hood pulled up about them. You can see that at their side are 2 blades and at least 6 daggers that you can count on their personage.
Oh, I feel my heart sink into my chest. Elerie, first of all, checks their hips, shoulders really quick. I would think perhaps to see if there's any sigils that she could recognize to know who she's dealing with.
Yeah, you can make an Arcana check.
Ooh.
That is a 10. You don't recognize these particular sigils, but you think that they may have something to do with protecting this individual.
All right, so they think I'm deadly.
Yeah. So you enter, you take a look at the situation, and Sternward is standing with a book open by the window, looks to you, slams the book shut, and then sets it down on the desk. Well, we are quite glad you were able to join us.
I've managed to fit you in.
To our great pleasure, nonetheless. Please have a seat.
Very well. Elerie takes a seat and makes herself a little comfortable. Perhaps a little too comfortable. She's kind of leaning in it, really owning the chair situation she's in.
So the man that's sitting in the plush chair across from you looks at you and kind of squints a little as you sit down. Sternward, you had said that this individual would be of use. You said nothing of their beauty.
It is so wonderful to meet somebody who can easily recognize that.
Smygor, do not be taken by this rogue. We have business to attend to. If you wish to fraternize on your own time, by all means. Elerie Seaborn, I would like to introduce you to Archmage Gerwald Smygor, a magus of the Watchful Order. Are you familiar with the Watchful Order?
I've heard of them. They're pretty watchful. I'm sure you've heard that so many times before, though, right? Yes.
Sternward slams the book down on the table. It's just loud, I have asked my associate to join us because I believe the information that you have will need a certain amount of verification. Not only do I not trust you, but I know that you're actively willing to lie to us.
Lie? I don't think I've lied to you a day in my life.
The Inquisitor turns and opens a drawer on the desk and pulls out a green-hued stone that he sets on the end table in the chair between you and the Archmage. He licks his finger and then touches the stone, and there's a rune that lights and glows upon it. You can make an Arcana check. 17. You think that this is an artifact and that he's just enacted its power. In fact, you can hear kind of a gentle hum coming from the stone.
Now, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure that's not necessary, right?
Oh, it's quite necessary, my friend. It is a stone that will ensure that anything that you say is verified to be the truth. So please, tell me again about how you have never lied to me. We're waiting.
Well, you got me there. So, shall we continue?
Oh, we shall. And he takes a seat at another chair across from the other two that you and Smygor are sitting in. And at his desk, he begins flipping through some papers, and he pulls out a quill, dips it into an ink pot, and then looks to you. I want you to start at the beginning. Tell me about how you came upon the Siren's Call. All right. So meanwhile, in an alley, Hawke, it is your action.
I'm gonna turn around and I see the guy with the longbow knocking his arrow. I hold out my hand and it begins to kind of thrum and vibrate. And as it does, it shoots out 2 bolts of purplish energy at the man with the longbow up here above Maglo.
Okay, go ahead and roll the strike, please.
All right, and that's 2 beams.
You're shooting your Eldritch Blast, so there's this buildup of Eldritch power.
So that's a 17 and a 19.
17 and a 19, both are going to hit. So you can roll. What's your damage on the combined strike?
It is 15 points.
Okay, so as your hands reach out, this eldritch energy builds up, and you blast it across the alleyway. It lights up the fog cloud that is spreading out and starting to thin maybe a little bit. And as it blares forward, you strike the individual who looses the arrow and shoots it up in the air, shouting, "Ah!" as your energy has caused them to misfire their bow. They are still clamoring up there, though. It looks like they're still alive.
And you mentioned that there's a man in full plate armor somewhere here, or like in really, really big guy. Is that the guy that I hit the first time?
The really big guy was wearing mismatched armor and has acid thrown into his face. The armored individual is the one that grabbed Doddle.
Right. I shoot it off. I turn, I look at him, and I mutter, "You're next," in Undercommon, and I cast my Hexblade's Curse.
Okay, he does not speak Undercommon, but whatever you said might intimidate him. So go ahead and make an intimidation check, because Undercommon is very guttural.
Oh, yeah. I was going for the whole I'm a creepy dude thing. That's an 11, so...
Yeah, so you pretty much... And he, his eyes kind of look confused, but he stands his ground. Siraye, what would you like to do before this individual gets too far away from you?
How close am I to him now?
So the tiefling that has been charging across these rooftops, Billix, is now maybe 15 feet away from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw my dart at him, and I'm gonna try and throw it at his ankle or like his foot, because I want to slow him down. I want to stop this running. I want to kill him. So I'm gonna try and aim specifically at like his ankle or something to stop him.
Okay, so you are specifically trying to impede his movement. Mm-hmm. So I'll have you roll with a disadvantage. Wow.
Sucker! A 15 and an 18! Whew, that hit! Yeah, I know it did.
Yeah, you hit.
Suck it! Billix, or whatever the hell your name is.
I'm going to pull back the veil here. You just barely hit, but you hit.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Plus your sneak attack. So that does...
Aha!
Okay, so you do 8 points of damage as he stumbles forward and slides across the roof.
Cool. And then I'm going to use my extra action to jump forward and try and stab, like, with my spear. I'm gonna jump forward, spear in the air, ready to go, and I'm gonna try and stab down onto him as he trips up.
Okay, so you're gonna need to make an acrobatics check, and then you're using your bonus action to more or less attack, right?
Yeah.
It's a 9.
Fuck. No,
Yeah.
it's not great.
So
it doesn't work.
It's not great. So you can go ahead.
I feel like I jump and I go to get him, and he like notices me and does this, and then like dodges out of the way very nimbly because he's still a very nimble tiefling rogue, and I will give him that. And like just misses me as my spear like digs into the terracotta roof tile and like smashes it.
Yeah,
and then
so
I
you
like
shatter-
look up at him.
You shatter the tile right next to his head as he pulls his head to the side as you jab downward. And you're standing over him right now, and you see that he has this dart still stuck in his leg, in the back of his leg. And he looks at you, and he smiles.
Okay, I want to punch him, but I have no more actions.
On the ground, we have 2 individuals. The larger man stands back up and immediately charges you, Hawke, trying to tackle you to the ground. I need you to make an acrobatics check to remain standing.
Oof, not good with acrobatics. That's 5.
Okay, so he's blinded and he barely succeeds, but he does, because you rolled abysmally, he does like barrel into you, and both of you topple down on the ground. You are prone, and so is he. And as you're lying on the ground, the other man in the armor starts laughing and charges forward with his sword drawn, striking at you. He gets to roll with an advantage, and he strikes. Causing 9 points of damage as his sword cuts through a gap in your armor, and you feel the hot wash of blood flow. If you know what's good for you, you're going to stay down.
If you know what's good for you, you better run.
That is their 2 actions. Over on the side here, something's happening in the fog. One of the archers has been disabled and does not fire, tries to regain their composure and prepare for the next round. The other 2, however, immediately fire upon Maglo and Doddle. So I'm going to fire at each of you. Oh no. That is a natural 20.
Oh no.
Doddle, an arrow just whizzes through the air from the top of one of these rooftops and hits you in the shoulder. And it buries itself deep into your arm. It is very painful.
Ow!
And you take, well, it could have been worse. You take 8 points of damage as you feel blood start to well up through your coat. And Maglo, an arrow flies over your head and hits the cobblestone behind you. Billix, in the meanwhile, smiling up at you, Siraye, kicks you.
Butthole.
And hits. I need you to make an acrobatics check. You take 4 points of damage. Okay. So you got a 15, which keeps you from falling off the roof. However, he pulls himself out from underneath you and rolls back.
I feel like, so like, I like stagger back when he kicks me, and then he does one of those like martial arts like flips things to
he
get
rolls
himself
back.
up.
Yeah, he rolls back and very nimbly lands back on his feet, and you see that he's pulled your dagger out and drops it to the ground. Was there any poison or anything on it?
No, it's just a plain dagger. It has
It's a dart, right?
yeah, it's a dart.
Okay. So yeah, he's standing now. He's gotten you off of him. He's kicked you, and he like prepares himself to fight now. He's not running any longer. Okay, that's the end of the round. We're going back up to the top. First up is Maglo. Maglo, what do you want to do?
If he's going to go into the fog to try and find the book. However, hi everyone, welcome to Matthew Ekberg Ruins the Fun. Doddle, you got injured. You need to roll a concentration check.
For your wall of
And I am
fog.
letting you know because it benefits this guy. So.
But also,
yeah,
I just want you
nice.
to know that I love you and I value when you keep me in check because it prevents people tweeting me later on.
I am that guy that tweeted you. It's the only reason I'm here.
So
what am I
you need to roll your concentration check, which is under your spell list here. You have a modifier.
16.
So the wall of fog is still up. But by the way, it can instantaneously be dropped if you communicate that and Doddle decides that she no longer wants.
Can I do that right now for narrative reasons? Because probably would be rather shocking to be shot with an arrow.
If you wish to drop the wall of fog immediately, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that we do that.
Immediately you see the cart. You see lying on the back of the cart the thief that stole your book and another thug standing at the end of the carriage. So you have two individuals. One of them is still moving. The individual that you shot in the back while wounded seems to be picking himself back up and regaining himself. You can see that he does have your book still in his arm. And the other individual is standing here in front of the cart, blade drawn. But the horse, however, seems to be very unhappy and is kind of fighting its harness right now as it's trying to pull away from the cart.
Hearing the yell of a goblin to his side, Maglo whips his head around, sees Doddle get hurt, and then sees the fog cloud leave. Can he interpret that it came from Doddle?
Make an Arcana check, please.
20 on that.
Yeah, it makes sense. The goblin was just shot, and then the fog disappeared. You don't know why the goblin would be
He's
on that, but
as the fog cloud disperses and he sees the two people, he raises his gun. I just want the book. If you give me the book, you don't have to die today.
make a persuasion check, please.
18.
Interesting. So you seem to have caught the attention of not the one that you shot in the back, but the one on the ground.
I just want the book.
Lay down your arms and I'll give you your book.
Give me the book, and then I'll lay down my arms.
Well,
Why
we
do you
seem
even
to be
want
at
the
an impasse. You have a weapon.
Aye, we do. Your friend over there is fucking dying because I shot him in the back. If you don't want to get shot in the face, you're going to give me the fucking book. That's the impasse we're at, bud.
I don't think you know who you're dealing with.
I don't think you realize you've stolen the book of the smartest man on the fucking planet. And then Maglo's going to shoot him.
So conversation over. Go ahead.
It's conversation over. He's not having it.
Roll to strike, please, sir.
Help with Busby again, if that's okay.
Yep, Busby's still attached to your rifle, unless you tell me otherwise.
That is a 26.
Yeah, 26 is gonna hit.
And that is 20 poison damage.
Yeah, so you hit him center mass. You shoot him in the chest, and he stumbles backwards and drops his sword, falling across the cart, trying to pull himself up.
He also needs to roll a con save or be poisoned.
He succeeds that, so he's not
Brilliant.
poisoned, but he is
Cool.
He is thrown like a scarecrow across the back of this cart.
Maglo's gonna get closer.
Okay.
He's gonna walk closer to them, still gun raised, but he has his hand out now. I can heal you if you want. Just give me the fucking book.
Okay, Doddle, it is now your turn. What would you like to do? You see this man raise this weapon and fire like lightning out of it as he strikes the man that was just in a conversation with him, throwing him back. He's very badly wounded.
Can I get to the cart? Because I want to hide, because there's people shooting at me from above me. Perhaps I am in a little bit over my head here. Am I able to hide under the cart?
Yes. So you make your way over to the cart, make an acrobatics check, and you can slide underneath the cart.
That's 11.
It's not great.
No.
So you run over to the cart and you roll under it. I'm going to give the man that has just been shot the opportunity to try to grab you. I don't think he's going to succeed because he's at a disadvantage. And he fails. So he does see you, and he snatches his hand down trying to grab you. You can see blood pooling up underneath him. And you get under the cart, and you're now safe underneath it. And you see this large head kind of turn and look between its legs as the horse is looking down at you.
I'm gonna wave at him.
Hawke, what are you up to over here on the other side of the alleyway?
I take my gauntleted hand, I grab the blade that's in my shoulder, and I pull it out while I stand up. Was it the person with the patchwork armor that stabbed me, or his friend?
The well-armored man. The large man is the one that tackled you.
Right, okay, the well-armored man. Perfect. That's who I did my curse on. So I am going to hit him with my green flame blade as hard as I can.
Okay, so you swing at the armored man as you stand up.
Oh.
He doesn't seem to have expected you to regain your footing so quickly.
Cool. So that's a 18 to hit.
All right, so you're going to strike, and you did 13 points of damage plus your green flame blade.
Which is 4 to him and 11 to the guy behind me. So I kind of pull back my sword, and it's basically a gout of fire, just kind of flamethrowers back at the guy behind me as I slash forward.
Okay.
And I'm going to level 1 Divine Smite him on top of it because I hate this guy. Oh, and then there's +3 to the damage overall. So far it's...
Do me a favor and give me the full total of damage that you have just rocked this warrior with, okay?
All right,
because
so...
I have a feeling that it's a large amount of damage again, as you are very much a swingy boy.
So 31 points of damage overall to him. And 11 to the guy behind me.
Okay, so you... You stand up, and there's this burst of flame as you thrust your sword forward, and you stab directly through the breastplate of the individual in front of you. And he chokes as blood shoots out of his mouth, and his eyes go wide. And you can see the tattered bits of his beard catching flame and green flame burning up across his face as he pushes himself off your blade, stumbles backward, and falls dead to the ground. A brown chicken, jumps onto his head and runs past him.
Oh, it's the chicken. And I'm gonna... because I killed that guy with my Hexblade's curse, I get to heal for 7 points.
Of course you do.
And...
So you heal for 7 points because of your wicked arrangement with the dark entities of the Nether Realm.
Yes. And then I get to transfer it to somebody else. So I'm gonna put it on the guy behind me.
So the corpse on the ground withers immediately as this energy kind of washes across you, and you turn and you I'm sorry, do what?
I look at him, and in common this time, I mutter, "You're up." And I cast the Hexblade's Curse on him.
All right.
My goal is to try and scare him into running away so I don't have to actually kill him, but I don't know if that does.
Go ahead and make another intimidation check. It's just going to be a straight roll. This guy is kind of made of iron, but we'll see if you break him.
That's 23.
Okay. Yeah, so he seems to be reconsidering his choices. He doesn't straight up turn and run, but you can see he's backing away from you. You're encroaching upon our territory. You have done the wrong here. You are dealing with the business of the Grasping Eye, and there will be repercussions.
I don't answer to the Grasping Eye. Now you all can leave and live, or you can stay, and I will kill you.
Okay, so you're doing this in this part of the alley. However, nobody's informed the other side of the alley that there's a potential ceasefire happening. Siraye, what are you doing?
He's now up.
He's standing across from you.
I'm gonna try and kick. Is he close enough for me to kick? He's not like 10 feet away. Is he 5 feet away?
Yeah, he's 5 feet away.
Cool. I'm gonna try and kick him. I'm gonna look up, and I'm just gonna right leg side kick him, and I'm trying to smack him in the head.
Okay, so you extend your leg, you swing upward, and you try to strike. 11 is going to be a miss. Billix ducks down, and the tiefling like lands at like a 3-point splits as your leg swings over them, and they leap back up, ready to fight again.
Can I use my bonus action to do another unarmed strike?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I kick him, and then I miss, and I go to turn and like swipe him.
Okay, so you're gonna
ninja style.
You're gonna try to strike him
in the head
time?
again. Fuck
Okay.
that. I'm going headshots only right now. Baby.
Okay, so your arm extends out as you try to strike him.
That wasn't that great either.
14 is just gonna miss. So you swing and it gets really close to his face, but he like steps back, and you can see that tiles have shattered underneath his feet, and so they're like repositioning themselves as they balance themselves on the top of this roof on this very precarious edge.
Rad. I want this to become some crazy kung fu fight. Let's go.
All right, and so that's the your opponent's turn now. Let's see, who's in the opening? Maglo, you've got 3 individuals who are firing arrows at you. Actually, no. 2 of them are firing at Hawke. 1 of them is firing at you. That's a natural 1. Okay, so 1 arrow just flies and doesn't get anywhere near Hawke. It shoots far over your head. You see an arrow just kind of fly off into the street beyond. A second arrow does, however, strike Hawke. And as you're saying all of this, and it seems like this thug is beginning to back down. He seems to be in some sort of position of leadership, but he starts backing away from you, hands kind of raised, and then all of a sudden an arrow hits you in the chest, and you take 4 points of damage. Your opponent smiles and then charges at you as you look down at the arrow in your chest. That's another natural 20. You only got 1. So he actually hits you with his mace, and he hits you hard. So that is 12 points of damage.
Oof.
As he puts his weight behind it, even though he's damaged, he's pretty badly wounded. He swings, and you hear a crunch on your armor as an enormous dent kind of works its way inward. And you take a step backwards, feeling the weight of the swing. Maglo, the 1 arrow misses you. So an arrow hits the cobblestone around you. You hear the whooshing past your ear as you just step out of the way. The 2 individuals on the ground, the one that is has been recently hit by you, throws a dagger at you and misses. And so the dagger flies over your head. I swear they're rolling either garbage or they're hitting natural 20s. So he throws his dagger and it misses you. It just whizzes past your ear. The other individual that you shot first that has stolen your book turns and looks at you. Saying nothing, you can see that black mask. You see their eyes kind of brightly glaring at you. The individual kicks a lever and the entire cart tips downward, and they and all the crates that are on the back of the wagon pour off towards you into the street, shattering. Yeah, make me a dex saving throw.
It's 20 on that. Rolling
20,
like an absolute champion today. I don't know what energy this I'm bringing.
I don't know, but it's amazing. So all of the crates shatter open and the boxes spill outward. And you can see the individual has, let me see if they can do this. Yeah, the individual that was sitting on the top of your book has disappeared for the moment. The other individual is underneath all of the boxes, and you don't think that has helped the situation for them. As these shattered crates burst open, and you immediately see a large number of reptilian bird-like creatures burst forth from the broken remains of these crates as these weird beasts burst out. They're small. They're about the size of a small dog.
Right. So you've made your decision today, have you?
We are at the end of the round, and we are starting back up at the top. Maglo, what are you going to do?
I'd like to do a quick glance at the person who, see if I can see the man with my book.
I'll make a perception check for you. Not good enough. No, you cannot see them now. In all the chaos of the shattering of the crates and the tipping of the wagon, you seem to.
Did I catch a flash of genius on that?
You can.
Which is a +4.
Yeah. You've used your flash of genius, but you have not yet you've not bested their stealth check. So
dang.
You still do not know where they are. But you desperately start seeking around. We'll come back to you as you stand there in the streets seeking the thief that has stolen your book. Calder, you deliver the wine and the cup to the individual seated in the back of the Mangy Dog.
So Cal's gonna set the drink down, like slide it over a bit. Can I get anything else, or will that be it?
Do you see that individual over there? Pointing across the room, there is a older man with long, stringy gray hair and a bandana tied across their head. They are wearing what looks like very rusted old chainmail armor, and they have a set of 3 dragon ante cards out, and they're playing a little solitaire game, sitting at a table. I would be happy to see that your tip is increased. And there's a clink as 3 golden dragons are placed on the table. If you were to find business near that table and tell me whatever he says to anyone who enters.
Understood. Cal's hesitant to reach for the coins, so he just...
Sensing that, the man, the mage, presses his hand down and pushes it towards you.
All right, Cal takes it and pockets it and doesn't look again at the man that he pointed to, but goes back and starts to look for work near the table. There are some dirty areas that are piled with plates and cups. You don't have to look very hard to find dirty tankards in this place. So you do manage to keep yourself busy. I want you to make a performance check, though, to make sure that you're not awkward in doing this. You rolled a natural 20 the last time you did this, so no pressure. No pressure to perform at that level. Oh, well, that's a 7, so not quite in the same league there.
Yeah, you're moving about, and you're doing your best, but you're not sure. You're not sure. The older man who's playing this solitaire game of cards doesn't seem to react strangely to your presence, but after a few moments, someone else enters into the tavern. And you see a very dark purple cloak, almost black, as a figure walks across the tavern, the old ragged wood. And everyone who's walked into this tavern and stepped on those boards, it sounds like elephants are moving across it as there's a heavy creak of groaning wood. You think that there might be 3 or 4 nails remaining in the entirety of the floorboards. But this individual enters into the tavern and glides across it, sitting themselves across from this older man. You see a very pale, and by pale I mean stark white, hand. They pull off a glove and pull out from their robe a scroll. You do not see their face at this point. The hood is far too low for that. The scroll is placed down on the table and pushed across towards the old man, who continues to turn cards over. And the old man turns over a number of cards very quickly. I need you to make an insight check. That's a 0.
Oh,
It's a natural. Yeah, it's a natural 1 with a -1. So
wow.
Yeah, Cal, I need you to roll again to see if you get 2 natural 1s in a row.
Yep.
I love that Matt is laughing so loud that he had to mute himself.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
No!
Oh my god, that has never happened in the history of D&D. No one can physically roll 2 zeros in a row.
Like,
Matt, don't make them feel worse.
we just went, I just want to say, we just went from 2 nat 1s to 2 nat 0s on the same character in this
No,
state.
we went from 2 natural 20s.
It was 2
Sorry,
nat
2
20s.
natural
ones.
20s.
All right.
I was like,
Always timing.
Calder, before you roll, I want you to understand that the same rules apply to natural 1s. If you roll a 3rd natural 1 here, I will alter the campaign for the worst. Like it's going to be something very bad.
I'm just pressing it. I'm just.
Oh my god, that was so close.
oh my god.
Like, no pressure, but oh my god.
Oh my
I
god.
want to take a nap. I want to take a nap right now.
So I'm going to leave this up to you because I know you are an amazing storyteller, As. I want to know, what does Cal do to cause every set of eyes in the tavern to look at it?
I'm going to say he steps on one of those loose floorboards in a way that the other end comes up and smacks him in the face.
And you take 4 steps backwards and you land on the table behind you, which is the same table that these 2 individuals are seated at.
Oh.
And it topples over. All right, that's very fair. All right, so Cal,
It's what I deserve.
And both of the figures are looking at you as you lie on the floor. And the cards are scattered out all around you. As you feel a nosebleed trickle just slowly down your chin,
Oh.
you look up and you see the individual in the hood. White skin that is almost translucent with a hue of purple and an inner working of veins throughout it. Dark, pitch black eyes and an angular face. This is a drow elf. June, this grate underneath this part of the wall has slowly eroded, and it is a very tight squeeze. Scratch has taken you underwater. You are swimming through a thick, heavy storm drain. The water is murky, and there has been a good amount of rain recently. And you see the cat-like figure of Scratch nimbly reposition themselves and pull themselves through the grate. It seems very difficult. And he turns and looks back at you, reaching his clawed hand outward.
Heck yeah, she tries to grab that thing.
All right, so I need you to make an acrobat, or you know what, let's make it an athletics check.
11.
You fumble and you begin losing sight of kind of where you're at, and you feel the hand, the claws wrap around your hand and pull you forward, but you're floundering. You take a level of exhaustion as you inadvertently breathe deep and water kind of fills your lungs. You feel just a rush of pain work through your muscles as you continue to try to hold what breath you have left. Make another athletics check, please.
Well, now I have disadvantage.
Yeah.
Well, I rolled disadvantage, so 11.
So you try again, and you start pushing your way through, and every time you get closer to this drain, the water keeps rushing past you and pushing you further away. Scratch does have a hand on you and is trying to pull you in, but you can tell that because of your positioning, he's not able to do so. You have one more athletics check before this becomes a problem.
I'm so scared. Oh man, 7.
And you feel yourself slipping from Scratch's grasp, and in the last moment, as it breaks away, you pass out. You feel it all slip away, and there is a pulsing drone that fills your ears. And it's comforting. And you awaken in your grove, surrounded by the stones and the glow of the arcane sigils that have been carved upon them. There is a soft bed of moss beneath you, and leaves are floating slowly through the air as a breeze carries them onward.
She looks around and she kind of just feels like this is wrong. Something's wrong. So she's going to try and call out to her god or anyone who would hear her. Sylvanas, Father of Nature, lead me where I need to be.
You close your eyes and you focus. Let's have you make a religion skill check.
Dirty 20.
You reach out and you feel a wash of understanding as you complete your prayer. As often has happened in the past, you feel the presence of your God. The Oaken Lord is here. You feel the close harmony of nature. And the leaves all freeze in the air where they are. They no longer move, as if time has stopped. And motes of dust ignite with an inner glow as the scene begins to illuminate itself. And from a light in front of you, somewhere beyond the glyph stones of this glade, you see a silhouette, and it's hard to tell the figure or who it is. It's just a blur.
You're getting closer.
What?
You're getting closer.
Closer to what? Or whom?
Keep going. Don't let go.
June wraps her arms around herself and, confused, she takes some steps forward.
There's a waver, and that energy continues, and you see the silhouette in front of you. It still doesn't resolve itself into anything that you can grasp onto. Visually, it seems more like a blur, ethereal wave of dark tethers, and there are strange echoes in the distance.
Oh, she gains her confidence and she starts dashing towards that blur.
Okay, so you rush forward, and as you do, that wavering changes and the form resolves itself, and you see Scratch. And you are underwater again, and he's like, you can see the strain in his face as he's pulling you through this grate. Make one last, athletics with an advantage.
Do you see the second one?
Yeah, I do.
Aw.
It's not great. So you are barely through here, and you see Scratch forcing you through. I'm gonna say you take effectively 9 points of damage as you're pulled forcibly through this tight space, and you dislocate a shoulder. Eventually, though, you are shocked as in a dark cavern within the wall, you start gasping for air, and you realize you're above water. Scratch has pulled you out, and you are desperately struggling to breathe. Don't move!
Oh.
And you feel Scratch press your arm down, and then grab your other arm. You're going to want to bite down on something. And I'll make a medicine check. And there's a pop as he pulls your arm down, and you hear it as it sets back into the socket of We're going to need to wait here now. We won't be able to climb with your shoulder like that.
Clearly.
You are inside an enormous sewer cistern, and there is water pouring in from a lot of different angles, and you see really steep, stark, slick walls made out of stone that lead up into tunnels. They're at least 60 feet up into the air.
Okay. June just kind of just lays there in her agony.
Scratch is soaked to the bone and looks even more horrendous now that he's like a wet animal almost. His ears are drooping, and he looks miserable as he kind of shakes himself off and starts to gather his things. He looks over at you and then stops and pulls out a small leaf and opens it up. Here. And he presses a leaf that has berries inside of it.
June takes the berries and I'm assuming you want me to eat this?
He stares at you.
Yeah. She's coughing out more water. Okay, and she shoots it down the hatch.
You regain 6 hit points.
Wee, trust. Could I clarify something?
Yes, please do.
For the audience, was I drowning on poop water?
For the audience, you are sure that there was probably some fecal matter in it somewhere.
Campaign, June just can't stop getting poop. Okay.
Love that for you.
I love that for me, yes.
We're going to come back to you, June. Elerie, you are seated in a very posh and well-presented office, surrounded by ancient tomes and books that have been gathered from all across Faerun. A glass of port has been put into your hands by the very attentive man in the blue robes seated across from you. You have been talking now for some time. Would you tell me, how much are you going to reveal to these men?
I think Elerie would start out with the very beginning of the tale, which to her would probably begin when she first decided to start sailing.
So you are intentionally going all the way back in your life history to try to drag this out and make it difficult, correct?
But the moment if they gave any pushback, she would, a little part of her soul would die.
Sternwald at one point stops you. If I didn't know better, I would start to believe that you were delaying the conversation regarding the siren's call. While this is very touching, I can't express to you how important it is that we get to the heart of this matter.
Well, I was about to get there before you interrupted. If it wasn't for my father and the way that he taught me to tie the ropes around the sails and and all the knots that come with, I probably wouldn't have seen those sails close to the Moon Shea Isles, and perhaps I wouldn't have joined. So it's all relevant to me. But I could, I could stop dancing around it if you could just tell me exactly what it is that you want me to tell you.
There was a very large hull that was gathered in secret and not recorded. Can you explain to me what was being carried inside of that ship?
Say, I don't know what you're talking about.
The stone glows very brightly. I believe you know exactly what I'm talking about.
My dear, it would do you well to just tell the truth, yes? We mean you no harm.
I might know something. Yeah, I'm sure there's something big in there, something that, Captain was real excited about.
Go on.
All right. They had a manticore in there. And it was terrifying, okay? Have you ever had a manticore just scream at you?
His eyes alight upon the stone. The stone is as it was. It doesn't flare. Yes, we understand. There were a number of exotic creatures that were being transported. That is not what I am speaking of. Something more illicit.
Come now. Surely you know what we're speaking of. Something perhaps that the captain kept away from the others.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Illuminate us.
And if I do full protection?
Very well. Sternward turns and opens a box and then starts stacking platinum pieces onto the table until the stack is about 50 high. Does this help your memory, pirate?
Now for that, I'll tell you about the wyvern's blood, but if you want to hear about something else, it's going to have to be a little bit steeper.
Did I say I was done? And he continues to stack, and there's about 100 on the table now. Does that suit your purposes?
Yep, I'll tell you anything you want to know.
He scoops all the coin into a small leather pouch, closes it, and throws it at your feet. Well?
Yeah, the captain lost his mind. Whole ship planned a mutiny.
Would you do us the great honor of describing the affairs that the captain was attending to when he lost his mind? Was there a book?
I didn't see a book.
The stone in front of you glares brightly. I don't feel that we should be dancing around this. You've been paid. A black book, very large, filled with arcane glyphs that you probably do not understand.
No, you wouldn't understand.
I can't lie. Damn this arcane stone that keeps me from lying. I want to blame it on Vesh, but I'm just trying to think of the right way to say it so that green thing doesn't light up.
So Sternward steps forward, face to face with you. Perhaps you are confused as to our arrangement. I have paid you. We have been more than cordial. You are not a citizen of Waterdeep. Our duty, both the Watchful Order and the Inquisitors within the city that have been empowered by the masked lords to upkeep and withhold the code legal have the authority to take non-citizenry that has clear and malicious intent and put them to the blade immediately. We are within our right to kill you here and now. And so, if I have misspoken, or perhaps my flowery method of gentry has confused you, allow me to make myself clear, pirate. You will not leave this chamber without telling us everything that we want to know. I give you one last chance for us to do this in a pleasant manner. Tell me what you saw.
What I saw was that a lot of people wanted that book. A lot of people started asking questions about it. I don't even know what this book's about, but if you really want answers, I think you should go to House Redder.
Good. Now we are getting somewhere. It wasn't that hard now, was it, my dear?
Well, you made it easier.
Oh, you are a delight. I am rarely beset, and yet here you are, a shining star within these gray days of Waterdeep.
Oh, if only we could get this one to leave us alone, then we really could get down to some good questions.
Oh. The other figure that has been standing in the room with you this entire time, just silent, standing in the back of the room with the wooden mask with the roses carved across it, has been watching very attentively. Sternward walks over to this figure and whispers something, and I will check your perception to see if you hear. You do not. Whispers something to the individual, and that person walks out of the room. As your eyes kind of flit across the room while this is happening, Archmage Smygor presses another decanter and refills your glass. Perhaps when this is all done, we could arrange a private dinner. Perhaps you could enlighten me on the paradises that you've discovered on distant shores.
There will be plenty of time for that.
Oh, of course, of course. I myself am no stranger to the customs and arts of many great exotic cultures. I could show you my collection of taxidermied songbirds.
You know, those are my favorite.
Excellent, my dear, excellent.
I just want to say that you can see the little green thing in the little orb light up.
Is it like he does not notice. Sternward very clearly does, but he's so taken by you and your flattery that he is hook, line, and sinker paying more attention to you than the stone.
Good.
We're going to leave you there. We'll come back to you.
Hey guys, I don't want to be a poopy pooper. However, I am on like 15% with no power here. So just letting everyone know where I'm at.
There's also a huge storm here, and I feel like we're on thin ice as far as power and internet.
We just knocked off that scene. It feels kind of neat.
Let's let this end here. We'll edit it later and just try to figure it out, and then we'll pick up the rest of it, and then maybe find a way to make it all fit a little bit more smoothly. But absolutely, we can say goodnight. It is 4:00 now on our end. So thanks for bearing with us. Yeah, midnight for you.
Always.
Sorry for being a pooper.
No,
Honey, I want you to have power. You need to have your phone so that in case something happens.
I was just attacked with support and love.
we feel personally like honored that you would use the last of the power you do have to play make believe.
I was legit thinking. I was like, I swear to God, you can say what you want about Burns, but you cannot say that she's not fucking like here.
Yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah, fully in, mate.
I will
I'll set this back up so that when we meet up next, we're able to just kind of like start out as it were, and we're going to treat it all like one big episode and just go from there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okie
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Oh,
I know
that
we
was
had
so fun.
yeah,
End
we had a
of
lot of
part one.
logistical stuff. Yeah, had a lot of logistical stuff to do. So
Yeah.
it was good that we got it set up. But
My chair
thank you all.
keeps making a noise. I hope that wasn't like picked up too much in the recording.
I don't think so. I heard
I
you-
wanted to check in. There was some flirting in this session. Was everybody good with the flirt that was?
Yes.
I'm an expert at avoiding flirtation, so
No,
a lifetime of experience. It's all good.
And the characters should react as they were going to. Like I know with you,
No, it's
there
all
was the
good.
bard, but because
Yeah,
you just left
it's
me
all good.
open for a lewd comment that I couldn't resist.
I heard it as soon as I said it. I was like, oh.
I was like, this drunken bard is not. She's not going to let that go. So
You know.
I just rolled with it. And
All
then
good.
and you're okay.
Natural are my natural charisma checks flying by well with everyone?
I am
love
living.
this.
Yes.
I don't mean
The
to sound
greatest thing.
flirtatious, but it just like Elerie's just like so on the cusp of like just trying to get the best opportunity out of a situation that like
yeah.
I play her
Same,
very
ma'am.
much like
I
on the fly.
love it.
Charlie,
Yeah.
angel yourself out of the
Yeah,
situation.
it's
I
pretty
support
great.
you.
Really got the
Go
worst
for it.
person in the world based on sound alone
Yeah.
in your pocket.
Yeah.
Like I know nothing about this guy's morality other than
No, that's it. If this guy turns out to be
And, like,
Oh, I hate that
like
guy.
the best, I will become evil. I will make this an evil campaign.
Guy